On today's show, we'll find out about what the difference is between holistic veterinarian medicine and the traditional Western veterinarian medicine. We'll find out what illnesses respond best to your pet, and also what types of treatment are available for you out there. This is going to be very interesting because my guest on the show today is Dr. Jenny Taylor. Dr. Taylor is a graduate from UC Davis with a doctor's degree in veterinarian medicine. Dr. Taylor is also a member of the San Francisco Veterinarian Group. They're a specialist group that offers different forms of treatment for your pet. As an example, how about flower remedies? What about nutritional therapy? How about acupuncture, Eastern and Western herbal therapies? And what about chiropractic? Well, Dr. Taylor's approach is very, very unique because what she does, she finds out exactly what is the most effective and most gentle treatment for your pet to get the best results. So stay tuned because this is going to be a very exciting show. Dr. Taylor, welcome to the program today. It's exciting having you here.
Well, I'm really happy to be here.
And I know there's a million things to talk about. You know, we're in 2001 and people are saying, I want to try something else that's for my pet instead of just the mainstream veterinarian medicine.
Absolutely.
And you have a lot of treatments that are offered. What do you offer actually? What can somebody say come in to see, into your clinic or that would call you, and what would you offer them, or how would you go about it?
Well, we offer quite a few different modalities, a combination of traditional Chinese medicine, Eastern and Western herbs, acupuncture, acupressure, Tellington touch massage, Bach flower remedies, nutritional therapies, anything that's going to improve the general health and wellness of your pet is what we use.
Oh, interesting. Now let's talk a little bit about nutritional therapy. You know, it's really interesting because when somebody comes in to you, you always ask them, what is your pet been eating? Is that correct?
Oh yeah, that's a big question, very important.
And it seems to me that when they go to the regular traditional doctor, humans, they never ask them those kind of questions though. Why is it so important that you ask, what are you feeding your pet?
Well, I think the foundation of wellness and health in your pet, as well as in yourself, is in what you eat. And so it's one of the first questions I ask because a lot of illnesses can be linked to a pet's diet. You know, beyond just obesity, a lot of cancers, immune-mediated diseases, and just general illnesses can be linked to a poor diet. And so, you know, if you're feeding these sort of name brand, over-the-counter, Safeway, you know, foods to your pet, they're really not getting the health and nutrition that they need.
Okay. Now, as far as over-the-brand, say, food for your pet, now when you come in and say a person's coming in just feeding them that kind of feed, do you recommend, say, they need to get on some vitamin therapy maybe at that particular time, or what do you suggest them when they come in like that?
Well, what's really important, and I try to do this with all of my treatments, is to figure out what's going to work best in this person's family and, you know, and their lifestyle. And for some people, it's not practical for them to cook for their pet. I think that the healthiest way to feed your pet is to do home-cooked meals. There are a lot of excellent recipes out there, especially for specific diseases that need to be treated. But for a lot of people, that's not practical. So you have the whole spectrum of, you know, buying some of the higher quality pet foods and feeding to them and supplementing vitamins and meats and vegetables, or actually cooking for your pet. And so I really interview people at length and ask them, what realistically are you going to be able to do for your pet? And we come up with a program that's best for them.
Oh, okay, great. Okay, so you're working really with that particular person that has that pet.
I learned early on, you know, I was very motivated and idealistic and felt like everybody ought to be able to cook, you know, and spend hours every week on their pet. And I realized that they weren't getting the consistency that they needed. It's really important to feed your pet the same types of food on a regular basis. There can be variety on what you're doing, but if you're home cooking, you don't want to do that for 2 weeks and then go back to this, you know, the over-the-counter brand kibble and then back and forth. So you have to find something that you know you're going to be able to do on a regular basis.
Interesting. Now, let me ask you a question. If somebody comes into, you know, with their pet and say they have some particular type of illness, irregardless whatever it is, do you tell them we first got to get that pet out to some good nutrition? You find out that first, and maybe that illness maybe will just go away by itself? Is that possible? Or?
Well, a lot of illnesses respond well to nutritional therapy, and and using nutraceuticals, vitamin therapy, mega doses of vitamins and that sort of thing. So it is important to, find out what is being fed to this pet and can it be linked to any of the problems that they're seeing. I really like it when people come in when their pet isn't ill at the time. We do sort of a wellness exam, and then I can put them on a program of diet, exercise, herbal supplements to make sure that they're not going to get sick in the future. But if an animal comes in that has, a respiratory infection or allergies or skin problems, diet is almost always involved in something like that.
Amazing.
And sometimes just changing the diet alone can really cause the results that you want. The thing about diet therapy is that it takes at least 6 weeks once you've changed the diet to see a real change.
Okay.
But it can make a huge difference.
What I like, though, the way you approach that then. In other words, you're approaching it more conservative instead of saying, well, this, say, dog or cat or whatever needs antibiotic or whatever. Maybe we should go ahead and try this conservative approach first, see what happens within a 6-week period. Then at that particular time, maybe then they might need something other than that. Is that correct?
Well, let's use skin as an example. A lot of pets have skin problems. It's probably 30% of what I see is skin diseases.
Wow.
Because skin problems are one of those things that don't respond well to traditional Western medicine.
Amazing.
A lot of what people use in traditional Western medicine, they use antibiotics and anti-inflammatories to sort of suppress the symptoms at the time as they come up. So it's important to try to find out what's the underlying cause and to treat the pet from the inside out. And the nice thing in Western medicine is that more and more diet is being included in the therapies that they're using as well. But you want to look at the animal as a whole and say, why are these problems happening? It's not just fleas. Are there allergies? Is there a disease process going on? And let's change everything in this pet's life to fix it instead of just giving him an antibiotic for the quick fix, short-term fix.
Oh, interesting. I really think that's really neat. We talked about a little bit about flower remedies. I'm not real familiar with that. Could you maybe tell the viewers exactly what that could be, flower remedies? I've heard about that a little bit for humans. I know there's, they use some called Bach flower remedies.
Yeah, the Bach flower remedies are the most popular, and there are flower essences. There are a lot of books and literature you can read on the subject. Probably the one that people are most familiar with is something called Rescue Remedy. I don't know if you're aware of what that is. It's a combination of very concentrated flower essences that they mix into an alcohol base. And what I usually do with pets when they come in and they're very nervous, they come into the office, is I will give them a couple of drops on their tongue. Sometimes with cats you can put it on their paws and they lick it off. And it has a very calming effect, very soothing effect. A lot of people when they're traveling with their pets, I'll recommend they use Rescue Remedy.
Amazing.
Very, very effective. It basically, the theory behind Rescue Remedy and the herbal therapies or the Bach flower essences is that there's an emotional basis to a lot of pets' illnesses, and so you want to treat the emotional problems, and that's what a lot of what the flower essences do.
An emotional base to the dog or cat or whatever.
Oh yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Emotion. Yeah, because I've heard that before, and you see it daily in your practice then.
Oh yeah, when you're doing, say you're doing a homeopathic workup on a pet, you not only look at the physical symptoms, but you also look at the behavioral symptoms as well. What times of day do they seem more nervous? Do they prefer to sleep, under the covers or on top? Do they, seem sad? What are the emotions that are going on as well? Because that can really help you key into what the best remedy is for that pet. You really need to look at the animal as a whole and not just the single problem. If there's an ear infection, you don't just look at the ears.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
In other words, like a lot of people travel with their pet, right? And it's funny because I know a lot of vets will, as an example, just give them a tranquilizer, maybe to calm them down. And you're using these Bach flower remedies, which doesn't take away from that animal's immune system.
No, it's really important, and I think more and more Western doctors are also starting to agree that you do not want to tranquilize your pet unless they absolutely have to be tranquilized when they're flying or traveling, because it lowers their immune system, it lowers the body's ability to deal with any of the temperature, climate changes that they're going to be dealing with and the stress, and it actually can be fatal sometimes if they take these tranquilizers. So a lot of people are recommending that you use other modalities like the Bach flower remedies, some herbal therapies, acupuncture right before they go on a trip. Yeah, it can make a huge difference.